Today we got to talk about Cleveland Browns owner Jimmy Haslam because he reportedly is upset that fans aren't 100% locked in on this team right now. And let's be real, a big part of that is because of Shedeur Sanders. He isn't playing. Now, local journalists are even out here claiming that ticket sales are down, that seats are looking empty right now. I don't know if that's 100% true.
Fans are more incensed than when the stadium runs out of hot dogs on game day after Jimmy Haslam pulled off the most bizarre NFL hustle we've seen in a while. And what is the main cause? Oh, nothing significant. Blatantly declining to play Shedeur Sanders, as if it were part of a top-secret plan to ruin the excitement and profit from heartbreak rather than selling tickets.
It's collusion to the max, bro. This is collusion to the max. You can't hide it no more. I am done with the Cleveland Browns. Completely. I am completely, utterly, and literally done with the Cleveland Browns. How has Shedeur not taken a scout team rep? Better yet, how has Shedeur not taken a rep? I ain't talking about individual drills. I'm talking about team reps going against the defense 11 on 11 like he did in the training camp. If Shedeur hasn't gotten any reps, plus no scout team reps, what is he doing? Standing there holding a clipboard?
More quickly than a slushie on a sweltering July sidewalk, the Browns fan base is disintegrating. Furthermore, this mayhem seems more like a reality show than a football game. Even if this whole situation is completely nonsensical, that is precisely what makes it so shocking. The Cleveland Browns are essentially that one friend who commits to working out every January, posts inspirational photos, and then skips leg day for the rest of the year. They excite you with lofty ideals, but all they give you is a massive wave of disillusionment, unhealthy habits, and stiff knees. However, the ownership doubled down on stubbornness like it was a championship playbook, just as supporters believed that the curse could finally break and that Cleveland might be able to break free from its terrible reputation as the NFL's ultimate quarterback graveyard. The latest messy chapter in a franchise that continuously updates its own encyclopedia of quarterback catastrophes is the Shedeur Sanders drama. Instead of providing the fans with the excitement they demanded, the Browns confused them. More drama is being sparked by it than by Sunday night TV. Numerous unsuccessful names, incessant jersey changes, and a highlight reel that resembles a comedy sketch rather than a professional football game. The history of Cleveland's quarterbacks is simply tragic. It's similar to watching an endless blooper tape. However, all of a sudden,
it's getting a little bit nasty. So they're like, look, man, viewerships are crashing. One guy broke it down to me on Reddit. He was like, look, bro, we're not saying the fans aren't loyal. The ticket sales are high, but during the coverage, if you look at the ratings, it's been going up and down, meaning that people were turning off their television. Even though it was a close game, 16 to 15 or whatever, people were not tuned in for one.
Shedeur, a promising young quarterback with star power radiating from him, is here with more vigor and social media excitement than the Browns' offense has had in a decade. Fans anticipated cameras blazing, fireworks, and the franchise's red carpet arrival. Rather, Kevin Stefanski and Jimmy Haslam pretend that Shedeur's Wi-Fi password is something they neglected to write down. Technically useful, but far too simple to overlook. It's more than just poor coaching, it's blatant disrespect. Additionally, the supporters have witnessed sadness so unimaginative that it seems staged, draft day catastrophes and cold nights in the stadium. All they desire is a glimmer of hope, a new opportunity, and a new belief. Clevelanders don't have any clues. They can recognize mediocrity, and for decades, they have essentially kept season tickets to disappointment.
That was going to happen. Now, I don't know if some of these things are just slander on the Browns, but one thing for sure, we do know people's attention spans weren't there.
People brighten up when Shedeur's name begins to reverberate across the city. There is at last an opportunity to escape this never-ending cycle of trusting us, but ownership will hit the brakes once more. It's always the same, spoiler alert. Fans now believe that the one glimmer of hope they have been holding on to is being purposefully crushed by ownership. However, why? Why wouldn't Kevin Stefanski allow Shedeur a genuine opportunity to shine? He calls plays as if he were following a flimsy instruction manual because Stefanski is bound to his own system. Instead of swallowing his pride and succeeding with something new, he would much rather crash and burn with his blueprint. Shedeur is the kind of playmaker Cleveland has been pleading for: electric, erratic, and wild. However, Stefanski does not view him as a savior, but rather as a danger to his code. Then there is Jimmy Haslam, the purported businessman who manages this franchise as if he were choosing the coffee flavors for petrol stations. Always safe, always uninteresting, and always leaving everyone feeling let down. At this moment, Haslam isn't even considering football. He is considering boardroom politics, sponsors, publicity, and optics. It's not a plan, it's a business theater. He would rather put Shedeur on the bench than take the chance of upending the stability he believes he has constructed.
You have a good process, okay? And if you'd have told me, let's see, we picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur, I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur. Just like who's going to start or what play we're going to call is Kevin's call, but that's Andrew's call. He made the call.
Tension is eroding the walls of the locker room in the meantime. The vets want a tranquil environment. They don't want their perfectly calibrated mediocrity to be upset by a newbie. However, the younger players notice the excitement and feel the atmosphere, and they question why the squad won't let Shedeur play. We're witnessing a quiet division right now, akin to a family meal when everyone is grinning for the camera but covertly gazing at one another across the turkey. Everyone feels it, even though no one expresses it aloud. The real sadness is that the Browns are afraid of their own potential. Fans fantasize about what might have been, and each heartbreaking setback seems like evidence that ownership failed once more. Jimmy Haslam has become the antagonist of his own tale, crafting a failed narrative that he most likely isn't even aware of. It goes beyond simply not playing one quarterback. It all comes down to refusing to adapt, to change, and to finally provide Cleveland what it has been pleading for ages. The Browns' so-called strategy doesn't appear to be management at this time. It appears to be outright self-defeating. Someone must eventually take the chance, make the audacious decision, and escape this never-ending cycle of mediocrity. Instead, it appears like the leadership is quite at ease, rehashing the same stale narrative that has plagued this franchise for many years. Everyone knows deep down that the conclusion could be different for once, which is why fans are furious. Shedeur Sanders might be the catalyst, the reset, or the transformation that causes everything to alter. Cleveland, meanwhile, keeps quiet and lets the chance squander on the bench.
Coaching out. He's standing on the sideline watching while Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel getting all the reps, and then Bailey Zappi going against the first team defense on scout team. Cleveland, if you were going to bury him on the depth chart, you might as well just put him on the practice squad or just release him. Trade him if you don't want him. But I'm telling you, I told y'all what they doing. I told y'all what Cleveland doing. Cleveland is trying to bury Shedeur on the depth chart so he won't play. Think about it. This man signed a 4-year contract. What can Cleveland do? They can control his career, playing career, on the field, not off the field, on the field for the next 4 years.
The city is fuming, not applauding. And there is only one obvious target for that wrath. The gatekeeper, Jimmy Haslam, is preventing the future from happening. Kevin Stefanski is also not running away. All the exhilaration of dial-up internet is present in his offense. The only person who could truly make Sundays worth watching is currently being blocked by him. Kevin Stefanski almost seems to be allergic to danger. Before the game even begins, Give him the option to fold or roll the dice, and he will do so with pride, as if he were flaunting his caution. He's the person who shamelessly orders chicken tenders when he enters a 5-star steakhouse. Furthermore, Shedeur is doing more than merely folding. To prevent anyone else from playing, he is welding the entire table shut. Shedeur's legend rises each week that goes by without him receiving actual reps. Even though he hasn't thrown a pass in an NFL game, Brown supporters already see him as the chosen one and the savior.
Tell me the Cleveland Browns listed Shedeur Sanders as inactive today? Inactive? Yo, look, man. At this point, hey, I'm a fan of Shedeur, I'm a fan of Dion, but we just need to stop caring. Because the more people actually trying to tune in to watch Shedeur, the more they ain't gonna play him, and the more they using him for clout and clickbait. They don't want the guy. The owner don't want him. The coach don't want him. The general manager don't want him. They don't want him on the team. Obviously, the NFL do not want Shiloh or Shedeur in the league, but Shedeur is good for money and ratings, or he wouldn't even be there.
The golden ticket. The quarterback can at last make Cleveland's endless horror movie at least watchable as a romantic comedy. Instead, Haslam and Stefanski are working on what could become the biggest real-time what-if tale in NFL history. Cleveland also devours conspiracy theories more than any other metropolis. In addition to being irritated, fans are creating their own mythology about why this rookie is being kept in secret like a treasure trove. However, the dynamics in the locker room are equally chaotic behind closed doors. Veterans silently agree with Stefanski that they would prefer to live with a foreseeable catastrophe than run the danger of complete anarchy. Instead of risking their spot on a quarterback who could really function, they believe it is safer to sink in a flawed system. However, the younger men are agitated. They're humming. They like the rush of a fresh leader sprinting ahead to a locker room full of potential. Cleveland is currently dealing with a silent animosity that is simmering beneath the surface and could explode at any moment. When half the locker room roll their eyes at the other half, it's the epitome of team bonding. Additionally, this irony is nearly poetic. The Browns have been pleading for a quarterback who can revive this team for decades, yet in the age of Netflix, shoot is treated like a VHS tape. Jimmy Haslam is currently voting for the quiet fail, and Stefanski is grinning as he co-signs the catastrophe.
Blame anybody who says, I don't necessarily trust this coaching staff to develop a quarterback or to evaluate the quarterback position. They have made some really oddball decisions at this position over the last several years, and I don't blame anybody for questioning, do these guys actually know what they're doing?
I don't think that's unfair at all. The thing that I would say is that they're desperate. They're very desperate. Like the entire organization is desperate. And if you really think they're going back to the coaches' offices and all getting around the table after sessions and being like, guys, Shedeur is unbelievable.
Not even a Super Bowl parade is being demanded by the fans tomorrow. They're not even asking for wins in the double digits. They are asking for effort and honesty. However, it always feels like a slap across Cleveland's face when Kevin Stefanski sidesteps questions during a press conference. Furthermore, every vacuous, uninspired justification that Haslam makes is like fuel added to a fire. The Browns are not only mistreating a quarterback, they are also mistreating the team's spirit. Furthermore, damage of such nature takes time to recover. The heedless disregard for the wider picture is what exacerbates this circus. Shatters isn't your typical rookie. He is a movement. He has crossover appeal and cultural buzz, the kind of publicity that might make Cleveland famous outside of the AFC North. However, Stefanski is too preoccupied with defending his system, and Haslam is too busy micromanaging. Together, they are mishandling the decade's biggest marketing opportunity. Thus, football is no longer as important as the narrative of Shedeur Sanders. It tells the tale of a franchise going to pieces. Fear versus hope, tradition versus change, and ownership versus fans.